family, folks, and anybody else who's about ready to come on and watch me today. So I'm getting ready to make another delicious video for a recipe, of course. And so I thought I would just come on for a few minutes and just say hello to everybody, see what everybody's doing. I know nobody's really watching right now, but it's stormy outside. Been a kind of gloomy couple days. Today's April 24th, the day before my birthday. I'm getting older and older every year. So cheers, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. And then, of course, just keeping it real with everybody. Looking for people who want to ask me questions, or did you like my last video? What would you like to see more of? Tell me. Tell me what you would like to see. I know I have my little birthday banner up. Got to have my rainbow. I love rainbows. What's everybody doing today on this Sunday afternoon? Are you kicking back and relaxing? Did you go get your spiritual on? Whatever you're doing. Today they had like a Belhane festival here in the valley. I've never been to the Evermore amusement park or whatever it's considered. But I'd like to go one of these days, I think. So yeah, just chilling like a villain, drinking my beer, drinking coffee. I found the smallest spaghetti squash. Like, isn't that cute? It is the smallest spaghetti squash, but it's perfect for me. Oh, that's right. It's not Sunday. It's Monday. See, look at where I'm at. It's because I've been on vacation for my birthday, and I'm not looking forward to the day I have to go back to work, because then that means things get real. But I did a lot of work today. I rearranged my little kitchen area. I vacuumed the entire downstairs. Did my dishes. I do that every day though, but I vacuumed today. So it's like my Sunday, but it's really not, because I don't go back to work till Thursday. Yes, thank you, JJ. I appreciate that. I feel like it's still Sunday in my brain, Monday. I mean, here it is. What is it? What time is it right now? 2:09. It feels like it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's storming outside. There's some thunder. I haven't heard thunder here or been through a thunderstorm in Utah as of yet. I know we have flood warnings and stuff, but I think I'm high enough. Although I just have to say, outside in the dirt, when I dig out in the dirt in the backyard of this place, there is rounded rock. So that tells me this all used to be underwater at one time. And water ran over those rocks at one time. This probably whole area was underwater, I'm assuming, for sure. Lots of round rocks, and they're really cool, because I love to go rock hunting. I've got some pretty cool rocks. They're all I have most of them in my car right now. I need to bring them inside and wash them off and scrub them and start sanding them down, because I found some really cool, like, in Idaho, I went rock hunting with my daughter, so we went up to kind of like the Nissa, so Oregon-Idaho border, and you can find a lot of agate out there. So like snake agates and quartz, different kinds of quartz. I mean, it is definitely, they're just laying right there on top of the soil, and right after a rainstorm is the best time to go. Same like mushroom hunting, right? Anybody mushroom hunting this year? I'm sure it's the season. I don't know about not Utah if they hunt for mushrooms here. But I did see wild turkey when I was out up in the mountains here, so we'll see, right? Mushroom hunting, like those morels, calf brains. Yeah, it's yummy stuff. Definitely yummy stuff. All right. I'm trying to fill in the gaps of the conversation, and maybe I've used my, 10,000 words today. I don't know. Anyway, this is heartfelt from like mom, grandma, to other people out there who have young kids who've lost a parent at a young age. My landlord, his ex-wife passed away a couple days ago and left behind like a 14-year-old boy and like a 5-year-old boy or 6-year-old boy. I don't know how old he is. I don't know them that well, but it's terrible to hear those kind of things because, I mean, it was probably very preventable. You know, I drink, but I don't drink often. And I don't usually drink a lot. I mean, like Friday, I'm not gonna lie, I drank 3 tall boys. I got a little twisted. I definitely was doing push-ups on the floor and dancing like ain't nobody watching, but it was a lot of fun. Um, it was definitely a lot of fun. I love music. I love to dance. I don't have a rhythm, and like if the beats go on one beat, like I don't know. I just dance because it feels good. Um, definitely, definitely love to dance. Have a good time. Don't go out very often, but when I do, I definitely do it with purpose. Monday. It's probably, oh yeah, chinchullas. I've eaten them at the grocery store, but I've never really went hunting. I know like up in Washington, I only know like the West pretty well. Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming area. As far as those are areas that I kind of grew up foraging in. Um, and I never did have the opportunity to try the chanterelles, but I know they grow prevalently. Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of people don't even really realize that there's a false morale. It's not deadly, but if you eat enough of it, it'll cause significant diarrhea and vomiting, and you could die from it. I mean, like, and they're very similar. So the false morels underneath, so you have like the cone shape. It looks kind of like a pine cone on the top. But with false morels, if you look underneath, the way they're connected to the stem is definitely a dead giveaway of a false morale. And then there is this really great app that you can download to your phone called Mushroomy. And you can put in the size, shape, color, and everything, and it'll tell you whether it's an edible mushroom or possible poisonous. It's all about a lot of details there. So I know that, what are they called? The turkey tails that grow on the side of trees. Those, I mean, I know that we used to take them off the side of the trees and paint them, put pictures on them and that kind of stuff. So yeah, you have to know what you're doing. I grew up with a father that logged and hunted and foraged, and there was one time he brought back these giant cap mushrooms, and I was like, and we lived in Montana at the time, and I mean they were dinner plate sized caps, and I was like, those got to be toadstool, like those got to be poisonous, Dad. Yeah, chicken of the woods. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then these giant mushrooms, and he cut them up and he ate them, and he didn't die, so I decided to try them too. And they were good. I think they were just button mushrooms, but they were just really, really big button mushrooms. And we lived in an area that was pretty good. Anybody do any fishing? I need to look up at the regs and see if I'm considered a Utah citizen, since I got married in Utah, moved to Utah, and then I got divorced in Utah. So am I a citizen of Utah? I don't know. I guess I'll find out. I'll go to the fishing game and find out, because I'd like to fish in this area, just not in this specific area, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of like heavy metals in the water. I want to get away from the city, away from all of that, to go fishing for sure. I know I've taken you guys fishing once or twice, and one was like on the pond in Boise. It was awesome. Oh, thank you. I know, right? Yeah, somebody else was talking about that. He's like, I watched this TikTok video. This guy was like, if I gave you $1 million, do you think that you could be happy and nothing would make you sad? And what if I gave you $10 million? He says something like that. And then they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. If you give me 10, there's not a thing in this world that I would be sad over. And he's like, what if I gave you a choice of giving you $10 million and not waking up tomorrow? And of course they all said, no, I want to wake up. I want to wake up. And so that's the truth of the matter. We've got to be grateful that we woke up today, right? Because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. None of us are. I mean, children, adults, old people, like I am so blessed to have made it to almost 50 years old. And so at that amount of time, like literally, I'm just I'm excited that I've lived this long. I want to be 120. I don't know if that's a possibility, but who knows? Maybe they got a new drug coming out that I'd be willing to try just so I can see those great grandbabies being born. Because I remember what it was like when, my grandma was 97. My grandma. So my great grandma, I remember her at 102. And I loved visiting. What's the CT River? Connecticut River. Wow. Wow. Is that what that stands for? Is Connecticut CT? Central. I don't know. I'm trying to think of CT. The only thing I can think of is Connecticut. But anyway, my grandma was 97, and I remember placing my child in my grandma's arms. And I had my mom behind my grandma, and then there was me, and then I was looking at my son. And she actually lived through 3 of my children, actually all 4 of them. She was alive. Yeah. The Boise River that flows through Boise used to be the most polluted river there was on the west in Idaho. Used to be the most polluted because everybody used to dump all their stuff in the water, and there was no. I mean, it was like Europe. You just throw things out on the street, and it all rains and goes into the river, and it just becomes so poisonous and polluted that it's no longer. You're not able to eat the fish and stuff out of there. But now it's clean. But underneath all of that, who knows what's in the sediments? It's just like the Great Salt Lake, which is, several miles from me. But the Great Salt Lake, they say if it dries up, there's like 5 different heavy metals in the bottom of that lake. And the wind picks it up and it blows it through all the states wherever the wind goes. And they've found like salt that was from Salt Lake, like in Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, California. Yeah. So it's a real thing. Definitely a real thing. We're becoming more conscious, I think. I mean, I've still head fished, salmon. I haven't done any pike fishing. I've done trout fishing, catfish, bass. I love bass fishing. And of course the suckers. This last summer, I caught this thing called a sculpin. I had no idea they were in the rivers in Idaho, but I was up at my aunt's house and I took a picture of it and I released it because, if you don't know, you should put it back, right? Yeah. I hear all kinds of things like, there's this place in Montana. I'm not going to mention their name. But it's a huge copper mines. Copper mines are pretty deadly. And the wall between the river for the Missouri River, I can't remember. I think it's the Missouri. But the Missouri would poison every river to the ocean along the way if that big giant, wall burst down and all that copper stuff went into the river. But they've had some pretty miraculous things happen there. Yeah. So what are you guys doing on your Monday? I'm sure everybody's working. Anybody have Mondays off? It's a normal work day for me, but I didn't work today. It's my birthday week, so I take it off. So I found out a couple of things on YouTube. There's one of my videos I'm gonna have to take down and put it back up because remember how I used to sing and dance at the beginning and play music in the background? Well, you can't even play it in the background. You're not underlaying it into your video, but it's playing in the background. So you get copyrighted for those kind of things. So I always want to say I don't own any rights to any music that you might hear in the background. Right now you might hear the dog. But as you can see, this is my window, which is great. This window is actually like a 5-foot well. When I climb down in there, my head doesn't even come over the top of that. Oh, thank you so much. I am excited for this year. It's going to be a fabulous year. I am so excited. And I think I finally decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an MBA, not like National Baseball League or Basketball League, but it's going to be M, like Mary, BA, Master's in Business. Yeah. I've got my comm, but I think business would be really good for me since I work in the banking industry, to be able to move up in the company, but maybe even the HR and training because I'm a compassionate, empathetic person. And, I think that I'm good at those things and planning and developing something that I'm really good at as well. Um, just, I like to work a team. Love teamwork. What does everybody do for a living? Tell me what you do. What's your favorite thing to do? I mean, some of us are retired, some of us live on Social Security. I mean, it doesn't matter, but what do you do? What do you do that you love? Do. Oh, the dog's barking so bad. Yes, being a grandma is the best. I wish I could put my grandbabies on social media, but my kids um, do not want pictures of their children on social media. So it's really hard. I have them on my phone. I mean, this morning it was so hilarious. Like my 1-year-old granddaughter, she's got the curliest hair. She had some little fountains in her hair. And there's a little video on in the background, and she's learning how to jump, you know? And so she's like lifting one leg up and kind of jumping. It was so adorable. I don't know, like, oh my God, they're so amazing. I love my grandbabies so much. I didn't even think it was possible to love anybody more than your own kids. And I do love my kids, don't get me wrong, but my grandbabies, I love them even more. They are the best. I love and adore my grandbabies so much. And even if they make mistakes, I mean, like, you know what you did, right? You know what you did. So just don't do it again. And of course, you know, like, they're just kids. They're little humans. And, you know, we really just can't have, I'm the boss, you got to follow my rules all the time. Like, that's great that you have rules and boundaries and stuff. But at the end of the day, they're going to make the decisions that they do, and consequences are going to be either natural or ones that you put on them, right? Natural consequences my kids grew up with. I definitely grew up with natural consequences. And then, you know, there were consequences that I put in place, like, do better next time. Like, I don't have to tell you what you did bad. Like, you know, sneaking out of the house, getting arrested, getting a ticket for being out after the curfew for your age. Yeah. We were able to get out of those though. So I'd have to say that, like, I have 4 children. My oldest is 30. My youngest is going to be 21. So far, you know, they have done very well for themselves. And yeah, as parents and guides and bad representatives, like bad influences that they had in their lives, I mean, they still turned out really well. I'm really proud of my kids. I mean, it could be a lot worse. Could be absolutely worse. They could be in a totally worse situation. And I mean, they're resilient, but damn, like, I definitely would love to do more for them for sure. Tell me about your guys' grandbabies. Tell me about your kids. Ask me questions. I will tell you no lies. I guess I should turn some things around. You don't want to give that free advertisement to people, right? That's what my producer always says to me. You need to turn all that stuff around. Yeah, Pink does the same thing. She has a home phone for her daughter. Like, I watched this interview with Pink. She's very strict. Like, all her daughter's friends have phones and stuff. And she's like, nope, they're not having phones. The only phone she has is the phone in the house. If she needs to get a hold of me, she can dial from the phone number. She has a house phone, like, for her kid. And if they do media, like, it's very limited. But it's like, this is the way I look at it. You can try to take all that stuff away from your kids, but they're not around you 24/7. So I think that moderation is important to teach, and teaching them how to be safe and be responsible users of the things around them, such as alcohol, such as teaching safe sex, such as moderation on the internet and social media, and, you know, teaching them at a young age to question everything they see. Question. Like, I am really happy when I hear a kid that says, well, I don't believe you. I think it's different. And it's not rebellion, but they have discernment. Like, they have this cognitive skill that they should be learning to be able to question everything around them. And I think moderation is key with food, with alcohol, with anything that you're going to be out there, even moderation in driving. Like, you out there driving like a crazy idiot, like, teach your kids to be safe. Teach them to drive responsibility. Like, be a good example, because your kids are going to do exactly what you do. And they're going to make some of the mistakes that you made. So that social media is a slippery slope. You got to definitely teach moderation and, like, start at a young age, having them outside, learning about gardening, have that time that you share on social media together and talk about the dangers of social media and how it can influence us. And those things are really important to teach, I think, our upcoming generation, this alpha generation that is coming up. Like, let me tell you, like, being in some marches myself and listening to these young kids and knowing that the age group of my children, I have millennial to Gen Z. So, it's tough. And like I tell my kids that have children now, there hasn't been one generation has gotten it right. There's not been one. The boomers, the Xers, the millennials, not one parent or one generation has figured it out and gotten it right. Yeah, exactly. Setting boundaries. Exactly. Yeah. Those boundaries are super important. I think moderation is definitely a time and a place. It's like, let's talk about sex, right? So, your kids are gonna eventually go out and have sex with or without you, or maybe they wait till they get married. It's their body, their choice, right? But you can teach them things like having safe sex, wearing protection, making sure that you're on birth control of some sort, talking about consent and not and teaching young men that it's okay, and young women that it's okay to self-gratify, but it's a place and a time, right? So, like, absolutely. No, we're totally cooking today. I'm gonna make spaghetti squash. I am making a video though, so I'm gonna put on a Genie B video. This is just the pre-show. So I am definitely making spaghetti squash, and I'm gonna cook it in the toaster oven with my little pan down here. Right? So I'm gonna make a spaghetti squash little casserole. This fits like perfectly in my toaster oven. So yeah, I'm definitely making it. But I've got everything on the stove. I even got my knife. This is my favorite knife. It's a utility knife. Isn't that awesome? It cuts through bone and everything. So it's great for cutting off the ends of the squash. So, yep. We are definitely doing a cooking show. I did oysters a few days ago, and it was a little struggle because shooting video on your phone and then trying to convert it in an editing file. I was struggling to figure out how to convert it to the HDR to something else. I mean, this is a $15 toaster oven from Walmart. So I wanted a toaster oven. I was like, well, do I want a toaster or do I want an oven? Because if I have a toaster oven, then I can bake things. And my whole thing is like downstairs, because I live in the basement. I know that there's a kitchen upstairs, but I like that separateness. I like to be able to have my own space to cook and clean and do my own thing. And it's my safe space. So going into someone else's kitchen, I've done that for so many years now. And I haven't had my own kitchen since 2000. Gosh. Oh, it's probably my internet. Ian Lombardo, I am so sorry. Yes, toaster ovens. Yeah, there are so many, like, you can bake in it. Like, I've cooked chicken in it, I've cooked brownies in it, I've cooked, warmed up pizza in it, made toast in it. I've put eggs in a little cooker and stuck it in there and baked my eggs. And, yeah, it's just a little oven. That's all it is. It's just, can be a little quicker, it could be a little slower. I mean, I wished I still had my, what are they called? Those, they fry food. The air fryer. I wish I still had the air fryer, but, you know, I kind of left a lot of stuff behind when I got married. So I'm starting over again. And now I'm divorced. So that was a fast and short marriage, fast divorce. I never thought I would ever get divorced again. But I guess, I mean, that's okay. No resentment, right? It was a bummer. I was pretty naive, I suppose. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't need much. I have my microwave and everything. Oh, and when I didn't have power, so like I lived in this trailer with my kids when they were little, and I couldn't pay the power bill. And it was outside of being able to get help. And so I had a barbecue outside. So I cooked everything on the barbecue. So everything that you can cook on the stove and in an oven, you can do on a barbecue. You could do it on an open fire. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, if I was there, I would look at your oven and see what I could do to fix it. Because I definitely am pretty mechanically minded. So I can fix things pretty easily. Like my favorite thing is this induction. So somebody asked me what an induction oven is. Um, so like if I turn it on, it won't actually cook until a stove. And see, and it doesn't get hot until you put a pan that has a magnet in the bottom. And then once you put it on there, it'll start heating up. Yeah, so they're cool. So you have to have special pans. A lot of pans have them nowadays, the magnets in the bottom of them for induction cooking, because a lot of the newer stoves, you can get an induction cooktop. They're fancy, but this was like, you know, less than $50. I bought it off of Amazon, and I wanted a little place to cook because I like to make eggs and potatoes and that kind of stuff. So I wanted a little place I could fry a little food, right? So it's perfect. I got a couple pans, that kind of stuff. But I do still have like stuff that's packed away. But I thought about like just downsizing altogether, because if I do buy a little RV or something someday, then I have everything I need on the RV. Or maybe I'm going to convert one. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. Plumbing's going to be the easiest. That's something that is really easy. It's the wiring, you know, on RVs and stuff, and that just kind of goes above my head. I mean, I could hook up a stereo. Maybe put a ceiling fan in. I know I've put a ceiling fan in before, so not a big deal there. Yeah, I've worked on my friend's camper and stuff, and I tried to find out where everything was shorted out on that RV, and he had reversed the polarity, so I'm sure that there was some type of, oh my gosh, it was a mess. There were so many places, and of course, because there was no power, you couldn't lift it up, and I didn't have jacks or anything to be able to get under there, to be able to see all the connections and follow them through. So he totally fried the wiring harnesses that were in there, and there's multiple wiring harnesses in those giant RVs. Like, I told him to wait. Like, wait until I get there so I know how they were supposed to be hooked up. But yep, he hooked them up backwards. So now his RV is been parted out. I even talked to my electrician brother, but he wasn't there to be able to help me. But we grew up with a machinist father, so our father did a lot of fixing things, and we learned how to do it. Well, hello, gorgeous Roddy Chrome. Some of the names y'all pick up. Sunflowers in Santa Fe. I mean, well, some people have probably like their real names on here. Kenny Stalter. It's kind of funny seeing all the different names that people come up with. I mean, like some of them are absolutely hilarious. Like when I'm typing someone's email in, I was like, oh, you should change that. You don't want people to know that. Right, right, exactly. Like he stopped it as soon as it started sparking, but it had already arced. And because it had already arced, it was a bad deal. I mean, like I even changed out the electrical panel. So there was 4 electrical panels in that RV. And then I did trace wiring all the way down, and the fusible links, I replaced fusible links. What I couldn't get to is the starter because it sat right behind the propane tank, and it was so low to the ground I couldn't crawl under there to get to the starter. So I couldn't see, any of that. I changed all the solenoids out, all of the fuses. I mean, definitely spent some time and money on all of those things, and I couldn't figure it out, but that's okay. Life happens, right? Well, you can create a welder, yeah, definitely, by doing it that way too. Like I remember my brother talking about how you can use a battery to create a welding unit. So don't think I'd want to have that kind of explosion, just in case. I don't know enough about electricity, but as far as plumbing goes, I mean, not like propane plumbing. I mean, it is simple. You have a line, it connects to one point A, point B. You have all these things. And so I'm sure it's the same as electrical, but I mean, for me, plumbing is like, it's a lot more evident of where problems are. So like if it's propane, it's like spray it on there. Soapy water. Well, happy birthday, Tree Buck. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Anybody else got April birthdays? April birthdays. I think it's Taurians and Geminis in April, right? Oh, yeah. I love sunflowers too. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I grew up well, on native reservations up in northern Idaho. So, that's awesome. SFE. Could be FE, I think, is iron. No, yeah. FE, iron. Yes. In the periodical chart, it's iron. Ferrous sulfate. I don't remember. I think that's iron. No, tomorrow's my birthday, but that's all good. Tomorrow's my birthday. I haven't decided. I might make another video tomorrow and put it on. I thought about making tiramisu because it's funny. I love tiramisu, and when you buy tiramisu in a store or you get it at a restaurant, it's really hard to find a tiramisu that I really like. They either make it way too sweet. I don't know why they ever use coffee syrup. Oh my God. Why? Why would you use coffee syrup in a tiramisu? Don't understand. It's too freaking sweet. It's not supposed to be a sweet dessert. It's supposed to be like a creamy, decadent dessert. It's supposed to have a little coffee flavor, a little rum flavor, and then you put dark chocolate, sprinkle some cocoa powder or shavings of dark chocolate on it. It's not supposed to be this overpoweringly sweet dessert. And I don't get why they make it so freaking sweet. So the tiramisu I do is kind of like a custard in a way because you have to have a double boiler. But there is a cheap way to do it too. Like you could just do the heavy whipping cream, and you can take the mascarpone cheese and whip it all together and make it really fluffy. But I really like to take the egg yolk and the egg whites, separate them, and you fold it in, like you cook it on a double boiler, the egg yolk. I mean, it's like a true tiramisu. I don't know if I'd go that to extreme. Plus, I'd have to dig out some pans to do a double boiler for sure. But I'm very picky when it comes to it, and I've only had it maybe a couple times where it was actually just delicious, because the lady fingers, you dip it in the espresso and rum mixture, and it really should have actual rum in it, because it is a liqueur dessert, but you can use rum flavoring, right? So that rum and the coffee together, and it's just light. Yeah, yeah. Oh, they're super sweet, and it's not. You're right. Like if I want a caramel flan, it's the crack on the top of the flan that is the only part that's really caramel, and then you have that nice creamy, and it's a light cream underneath. You know, like it's not supposed to be super sweet. Not at all. I get it. If we wanted caramel, we would just make caramel. My favorite is like toasted, putting toasted coconut on the top of flan. Yeah, it's so good. And I love desserts, but I love them in moderation for sure. So if I make a tiramisu, I'm gonna have to make it proportionate. Maybe my little pan would be perfect for making a tiramisu. Yeah. This is one of the free items I got from one of my sponsors. Yep. My friends are already texting me happy birthday. Awesome. Well, I am going to get off so that I can get started cooking. And, I know I'm going to have to shoot this all myself and then send all the files for Tony to edit. So I love you all. Peace. Be good. Make good decisions. And, be thankful that you're here today. And put a smile on your face. Even if it's fake for a minute. Remember that smiles are contagious, just like frowns. Spread your smiles. And of course, I look forward to everybody watching my spaghetti squash recipe. So hopefully everybody has a wonderful afternoon, a good evening, good night, wherever you are. Peace, 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 peace. Love you all. Bye. Yes. Not for me. You too. Have a great day, everybody. See you later. Bye. Yeah. Twinkie with butterscotch sauce. Oh,